All right, runners, quick show of hands. Who is tired this week? Daylight savings time hit last weekend. We lost an hour of sleep. And even though it's just an hour, research actually shows that it can take days to adjust, up to a week. Injury rates go up, car accidents go up, heart attacks go up in this week following daylight savings time. But what do runners often do? We like to look at our training plan and say, well, I guess I'm just supposed to push through. So today we're talking about something incredibly important. When you're tired, how do you know if you should rest, adjust, or just push through? So stay tuned. What's up, runners? Welcome back to the show. Since you can't see us on the other end of the microphone or with your AirPods or whatever it is, your car that you're listening to us right now.
Since you can't look out your ears.
Kevin and I were both raising our hands as I was recording that intro when I said, if you're tired, raise your hand, because I know I am definitely feeling a lot of fatigue today.
A lot of fatigue. You're driving into school. I thought about that thing. I'm like, every year we come to spring forward in time and car accidents go up. And I think part of it might be because it's dark out also. Like everybody's tired and it's dark. I know I was moving slow this morning. And
I know it was definitely weird because yesterday on Sunday when we actually had the time change from Saturday to Sunday, we could sleep in a little bit. At least we could. And we planned on sleeping in because we got to bed late the night before. Our daughter had her school musical this weekend, which was absolutely incredible. They did the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And if you all have never heard of that musical, like I had never heard of that musical, I highly recommend it. It was a really funny show. They did a great job. Watching these high school kids perform was just absolutely incredible, especially our daughter. Like just watching your kid on stage doing something that they love, or just even if it's not on stage, just watching your kid doing something that they love that just lights them up inside is just the best feeling in the whole world. Yes,
it really is great to watch your kids do that, and then to walk around school today and have all the other teachers and faculty and stuff tell me how great my daughter is. It's a nice day.
It's so cool because like we know how great she is, and it's just so fun when other people get to see it also. I think that's so special.
Yes.
We went to bed very late because not only is she in high school and she had this musical, then they of course have to go out to dinner afterwards and stay out late doing their little cast party after. And so we had to go pick her up because in Florida there's a state law that 16-year-olds are not allowed to drive after 11 p.m. We got to bed quite late Saturday night, but luckily we were able to sleep in. So when we woke up on Sunday, it was light outside. So I feel like my body didn't have as much of the fatigue on Sunday. Sunday I felt pretty much okay.
To be fair, when you say we stayed up really late, if we're pushing it past 10:30, it's real late.
I know, but we went to bed past midnight.
I know. That's the thing, is it was like extraordinary late for us, like late for normal people. But
I don't know about normal.
Like then waking up when it was sunny, like waking up when the sun actually rose and the dog started making noise, that was like, oh, I guess it's time to wake up, and still got plenty of sleep. But this morning, had to get up with an alarm. The day was slightly off, and then I had to drive to work in the dark. And that was a new thing. I haven't done that in months.
Yeah, so waking up today when it was dark out was definitely a wild thing. I just have felt very tired all day today. I know you said the same thing, and I'm sure that we are not the only ones, which has inspired this episode. So this is obviously applicable this week because of daylight savings time, but this really applies no matter when you're listening to this episode, because we all have those seasons where you wake up, you look at your training plan, and your body says, absolutely not. So then we have to ask ourselves, what do I do, right? Do I push through? Do I take a rest day? Am I being disciplined or stubborn? Am I honoring my body or making excuses? And if I skip this workout, do I have to make it up? And that's really what we want to make very clear, hopefully, by the end of this episode. So by the end of this episode, you will know how to decide when to push, when to rest, when to adjust, and also whether or not you need to make it up if you miss.
Yeah, we're going to try and make sure that we're actually very clear and explicit on all these things so that you can actually have an answer and some yes or no questions that you can answer to get to a good decision.
And obviously we can't make that decision for you. Only you can make that decision, but hopefully this episode will give you, like Kevin said, the right questions to ask and right filters to look through so that you can figure this out. So
only you get to be honest with those answers also.
Yeah, 100%, because sometimes we are are honest with ourselves, and sometimes we definitely like to lie to ourselves. I know I do.
To both sides of the question.
100%. Yeah, sometimes we lie to ourselves, making ourselves feel better than we actually feel, or feel worse than we actually feel if we don't actually feel like doing the workout.
Yes. All right, let's get going with defining essentially what we mean by tired. Because tired actually falls into all sorts of different categories. And the most straightforward one is you've been working out and your body is fatigued.
Yeah.
Like you're actually just tired physically. Your muscles feel like they've been doing work.
Yeah, so we're going to break this down into 3 main categories. So type 1 is that normal training fatigue where you might be a little sore, your legs might feel a little heavy, your muscles feel worked. Mentally, though, you're pretty neutral. Like mentally, it's not like you're totally wiped out. It's not like you're motivated, obviously, because you're tired, but you're neutral. When you go off and you start running, oftentimes when you go through the warm-up, you end up feeling better after that warm-up. You end up feeling fine. So this type of fatigue is often very safe to train through. Like people often say that first mile is a liar. That's defining this type of fatigue. Like sometimes that first mile feels really rough, but then when you get going and get into your rhythm, then your body warms up and you feel okay after that.
Yeah, and mentally neutral, I think, is the biggest key on this one.
Yes, I agree.
It's a lack of brain fog. And sometimes, because I'm sure we have plenty of runners listening to this, that they wake up and go run almost immediately.
Yeah.
So, sure, you're still going to feel slightly sleepy at the beginning of it, but you're not like in a fog. Like you're up and functional. You were able to tie your shoes on the first attempt. If you're struggling to tie your shoes, you're no longer mentally neutral. That's my take on it. Because I'm tired when I get up in the morning because I'm still slowly waking up and I try and keep all the lights out so the dog doesn't wake up. But I'm in a mentally neutral place if I can like tie my shoes in a normal fashion.
Right. Then there's type 2 fatigue, which is we're going to call accumulated fatigue or stress overload. So often this is a result of poor sleep. You can have an elevated resting heart rate, especially if this is an elevated resting heart rate over several days. You feel more irritable. Everything just feels harder than normal. Your motivation is low or non-existent. And when you try to go out for your easy pace, you feel like more of a medium tempo, moderate effort is happening, even though you think you're going at your easy pace, but it just feels way harder.
And I think this is the trickiest one to diagnose.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
You could go either way on this one. And it depends. Like you pointed out, elevated resting heart rate. Sometimes you just have a higher resting heart rate.
Yeah.
Like maybe you have very vivid dreams and your watch told you high heart rate because of what you were thinking about overnight. Maybe you didn't sleep great because that's the first one, poor sleep, that just leads to an elevated resting heart rate. So things seem off. And because you got poor sleep, you're naturally more irritable. There might be a reason that you could just go for it on this one. But you also might, if that elevated heart rate has lasted for a few days, now we're looking at, okay, I tried to push through, but now that pushing through is just literally accumulating even more fatigue.
And this often signals some nervous system and stress overload, like some nervous system overload, like your central nervous system is not able to adapt to the training or all the stress you're under, just kind of everything that's going on in your life. And so this is one of the things that not everyone understands is that there's different types of stress and fatigue in your body. There's nervous system fatigue, like especially central nervous system fatigue, and then there's muscular fatigue, there's peripheral nervous system fatigue, like your nerves that are actually going through your limbs. But central nervous system fatigue is more of your brain, right? Like the brain and the spinal cord, just that's your central nervous system. And it's essentially just the messages are not getting to where they need to get to as quickly as they normally would. You've got a slow highway.
Yeah, but the central nervous system, depending on which exercise physiology theorist you'd like to discuss, the central nervous system governs your body's feeling of fatigue. And so if you're pushing yourself and your brain's not quite firing on all cylinders, it's naturally going to think that you're more fatigued than you actually are. Maybe your muscles actually feel fine, but your central nervous system is overly shot. And so it's sending you all the signals. This is really difficult.
Yes.
Even if your legs are like, actually, it's not that difficult. It's a weird combo.
Yeah, and that's really where it gets very confusing, especially if you are a woman over 40 in perimenopause. Agreed. Because, yes, because you definitely have experience with this, right? But this is what happens to so many women in perimenopause is this stress overload in this central nervous system fatigue because of all the hormone changes that you're going through and because of all the things that are going on in your body right now. And just midlife is just a typically, I would say, a stressful time because of all the things we've got on our plates. There's a lot of people, a lot of women in midlife that are dealing with kids still, oftentimes teenagers, and teenagers are
they're a blessing.
They are a blessing. They absolutely are.
Just angels from dawn to dusk.
They also stay up much later than little kids, oftentimes. They have their own social lives. They often say little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. So there's a little bit more stress involved when your kid's out driving and you're just praying and making sure that they get home safely. Then there's also the other side of the spectrum where a lot of women in midlife are also helping take care of aging parents. And there can be a lot of stress in that realm as well. And so we are just juggling a lot of things in midlife. And all of that adds on to our fatigue accumulation, because I like to use the analogy of a bucket. Like, we all have a stress bucket. I know I've mentioned this on one of our recent episodes as well. We all have a stress bucket, and no matter what kind of stress it is, whether it's physical stress, emotional, financial, family, any sort of stress, it all goes into the same bucket. And that bucket is your central nervous system. Your brain, your central nervous system has to figure out how to buffer essentially all of that stress, poke holes in that bucket so that your bucket doesn't overflow. And that's really, so we as runners, oftentimes people talk about how running is stress relief and running is therapy. And while that's true, running can be very therapeutic, and it can help you process a lot of mental and psychological stress. There's also the added physical stress that it brings into your system that, especially if you are someone that is pushing to that medium to moderate effort level on all of your runs, you're just adding more and more fatigue into your system, and all of that fatigue adds up.
Yeah, you talk about the bucket. Running can be a way to poke a hole in the bucket and let some of it drain out.
Yeah.
But it is pouring water in also.
Right. Actually, both. So which one is more, right? Are you putting more physical stress in than you're actually letting out? And that depends on your effort level on your runs.
That depends on your effort level. That depends on if you're bringing mental stress into judgment about your run.
Oh, yeah. That's always fun.
That also comes if your easy pace feels like a tempo. Now, are you judging how you feel? Mm-hmm. You're looking at the watch. It's supposed to be easy. You're like, this feels really hard, but my watch says it's an easy pace. Now, that run that physically is an easy pace, you're now judging it and bringing extra stress to it.
Yeah.
So what probably was going to be like a small physical stress and might even be like a relaxing mental release now has become a mental challenge also.
And then we have type 3 fatigue, which is really when you need to wave the red flag. Like, this is a red flag that you need recovery. So any sort of sharp pain, okay? Like when you move into sharp pains in your body, that's a red flag. Whenever you are having illness symptoms, like you just feel like your immune system is just wearing down and you're starting to get sick. If you feel this sense of very deep exhaustion, I know that feeling all too well. And it's hard to explain, but if you've ever had that deep exhaustion, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have lingering soreness that isn't improving with rest or with time, that's a red flag.
That's a big one.
Or if you're having any sort of dizziness, lightheadedness, like Kevin said, brain fog, depending on the level, right? Brain fog can oftentimes fit into type 2 fatigue, but when you're just at the point where you can't focus on anything, that's like starting to move into type 3.
And that's the thing, is that you can't focus on anything.
Yeah.
It's that your soreness that could put you in like type 1 is just soreness that never goes away. Mm-hmm. It's soreness that is always there. You start running and it just ramps up even more. It's not that you warm up and the soreness fades, it's that you warm up and the soreness increases. Like, you feel like you're running on fumes at all times. And some of these are that like deep exhaustion is running on fumes. Sharp pain is just, okay, you've overdone it. That's not muscle soreness. That's just sharp pain.
Yeah.
That's time to take a couple of days off and see what your body needs to do on a reset. Most of these are, we need at least a off day and possibly a few off days.
Right. So that's where we get to our decision filter. Okay, now you know there's 3 different types of fatigue, and now we have to figure out, okay, what do we do? Right now I know that, okay, these are the categories that I might be in here. How do I decide what to actually do when I'm feeling this way? So there's 3 questions that you need to ask yourself. Number 1, is this physical fatigue or is this nervous system fatigue? And hopefully you understand what we mean by that question based on what we just said. Number 2, if I start slow, does it improve? Okay, because that's a good sign.
It's like a warm-up.
Yep. And number 3, what is my intention in this training cycle? What are you actually training for right now? How important is it that you go in and get in that workout today? I think that's a really important thing to consider as well.
I think it's a double question. What's my intention of this cycle and this day?
True.
I think like you really need to figure out like
Yes.
what is this cycle and how does this day fit into the cycle?
I'm really glad that you said that, because I think that's why it's so important that when we coach our clients, we educate our clients also on the purpose of their workouts. I think it's really important that they understand that and that they're not just following a training plan.
It's helpful because then it leads to some of these later things about, do I move it? Do I adjust? What am I supposed to do? Do I have to put it back into the week? I missed a workout, so should my week end with workout long run? Because that seems like a lot.
Right, exactly. So let's talk about when to push through first, okay? So we basically, after you ask yourself those 3 questions, then you have 3 choices. After you answer those questions, you got to figure out, okay, is it physical? Is it nervous system? Is it improving? And what is my intention? Now you have 3 choices. So your 3 choices are rest, adjust your workout, or push through. Okay,
let's push through.
So let's push through first, because this is where a lot of us default to.
Let's do it.
Right? So
turn on my fire up music and let's go.
Perfect. All right. So it's usually okay to push through if it's just heavy legs or if it's normal soreness. Like Kevin said, it's not that lingering soreness that's been there for weeks or months.
No, it's that you worked out the day before and you're feeling sore. Like
right.
You can directly point to what you did likely the day before, or if you were running real hard downhills, maybe what you did 2 days before.
Yeah.
But you can point to the specific recent workout that is likely causing your soreness.
Right. You also, it's okay to push through most likely if you slept decently. It's not that you need a perfect 100% sleep score, but you slept decently and you wake up feeling okay.
You ever gotten a 100% sleep score?
So I don't get sleep score. I only get body battery. My watch is too old for the... I know. I don't have the sleep score yet.
You get really close to 100 body battery all the time.
I do.
If I wake up at a 60, I am crushing life.
That's wild to me.
I know, it's weird.
I would say the majority of my body battery is between 90 and 100 on most days.
Yeah, my favorite are the days where I wake up and it's 30. That's going to be a special day.
That's wild. Okay, so again, you slept decently. Warm up improves how you feel. So if you go out there and that first mile doesn't feel so great, but then you start to warm up and feel good, then that's a good sign. And here's one that you've got to be honest with yourself about. It's okay to push through when you know that you're just avoiding discomfort, not protecting your body. So discomfort is a part of training. We all know we've had that time where we look at our workout plan and we're like, I don't want to do that. Usually for me, it's like a 20-minute tempo run. I'm like, I'm feeling so tired today.
I'm exhausted.
So tired.
The daylight savings time seems to come all the time.
So terrible. So that's just me avoiding discomfort, right? I'm not saying this morning, if I did, that'd be a different story, because when I woke up this morning, I was tired. But a lot of times, if I'm being very honest with myself, there's times that I'm just avoiding the workout. I just don't want to do it because I don't want to be uncomfortable. I'm avoiding the discomfort. So it's not really that I'm too tired. It's just I don't want to do that workout. But discomfort does not equal damage. Discomfort is something that you actually need to intentionally put your body through if you want to improve. Because in order to improve and adapt, you need to stress the body appropriately. Then your body recovers and it builds back stronger than it was before. So if you're just always avoiding discomfort, then you're not getting better.
And this goes right back to the warm-up improves your overall feeling.
Yeah.
That's a sign that you're trying to avoid the workout. If you do the warm-up and you finish it and you feel better than you did at the start, you're ready to go.
You're on point. You're okay to do that workout.
You definitely are.
Yeah.
This came up at track practice today because it was a pretty warm day at practice, and I was trying to organize a few different groups, so I was in a few different places around the track, and every time I went from one group to the next, the group that I just left just magically disappeared off the track. I had to go get more water. It's really hot. And they were purely avoiding discomfort. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be...
Surprise, they're high school kids.
I know. I'm like, I'm going to be with them for literally a minute. Or the one group, I said, I just have to walk down to the other end of the track because I'm going to time you. So you just have to wait till I get to the other end, and then you guys are going to start so I can be at your finish line. And I walked down to the other end of the track, and I turned back to see them at the start, and they were gone. I was like, that is clearly avoiding discomfort. I'm like, are they hiding? I lost.
What happened to them?
I lost 2 kids.
Yeah.
And that was purely avoiding discomfort because it was hot today. But the thing is that as track season goes, it just keeps getting hotter.
Yeah.
And so if they avoid the discomfort today, they're not going to be able to hit the workout later in the week. They're not going to be able to hit next week. They're not going to be able to race in 3 weeks when it just keeps getting hotter and hotter. Yeah. At some point, you have to approach the discomfort and say, this is what we're doing today.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the opposite of cross-country season.
It's the exact opposite, I know.
Yeah, that's wild. All right, so those are your green lights, essentially. Like, when you're feeling that way, you can proceed. I wouldn't even say with caution. Like, those are pretty much
you're just
green
going.
lights, right? So this would be, your next category would be when to adjust. So this would be your yellow light, okay? There we go. Look at that. I just came up with a stoplight analogy just like that.
Way to stoplight analogy.
Way to stoplight analogy. Okay, so that was the green light. Your yellow light is when that fatigue is starting to build and you notice that you're not feeling up to it. This is a good time to adjust. What does that look like? It looks like your easy pace is feeling unusually hard. You go out, you're like, okay, yeah, this is my normal easy pace, and today it is not feeling easy. Today it is definitely feeling more medium pace.
Yeah, and this one also goes to what the pace on your watch might tell you, which is why on this day it's usually a good idea to not follow the watch. This is a good adjustment if life stress is particularly high or sleep was particularly bad. And you don't have to check off all of these boxes. If you check off more and more of them, it's a sign that it might not be a yellow light. We might be trending towards orange and red. My stoplight became a rainbow, I think. But if you have one of these things, you might be able to be like, all right, I could probably push through this thing, but I need to make sure I'm paying attention. Yeah. But it's as you start being like, my pace feels extra hard. Oh, I have been going through a whole lot of stress. I really slept terrible for the last 3 days. I'm just feeling off. Yeah. There's a lot of things that are building up that you're like, ooh, this might not go well, and I probably have an idea of why.
Yeah, you just feel flat overall. And again, going back to our perimenopause and hormone discussion, you might notice that, okay, let's go earlier than that. Maybe you're not in perimenopause yet. Maybe you're still someone in your 30s or even your 20s. You might notice that certain times in your cycle you feel this way, and it's because of the different hormone changes that we as women go through in our cycle, and your hormones can affect you differently at different times in your cycle. But in perimenopause, your hormones are really all over the place, and so there's not really a predictability like there is when our cycles are normal.
Excellent.
And that can be a really confusing time.
This also just generally connects to overtraining, and that's going to mess up hormones of everybody, regardless of age or gender. Right. Overtraining is just going to throw your hormones out of whack,
that is true.
Which then is going to increase your perception of stress, and it's going to mess up with your sleep. So there's all sorts of reasons that are a lot of connected to hormones that are then going to put you into this yellow light zone.
Exactly. And you just mentioned about what the workout is on your watch, whether or not you should follow that or adjust it. I was out of curiosity. I just wanted to check and see what my watch was going to tell me my workout was for today. Uh-huh. So what is today's suggestion? Now, keep in mind, I told you I woke up feeling very tired today.
Yes, you did.
I did. I'm very tired right now recording this podcast. I've had to stop our recording a couple of times because I said to Kevin, I'm like, why can I not talk today? And he's
sometimes sentences are hard.
Because you're tired.
They're just hard to complete.
You're right, yeah, because my thoughts are just not as clear as they normally are. However, my watch, because I believe I woke up with a body battery in the 90s this morning, definitely did not feel that way. My workout suggestion from my Garmin today is 2 threshold run, 2 by 19 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, double.
Threshold. Are you kidding?
Nice.
It's never suggested something like this to me before.
Yeah, no, I just checked mine. Apparently, I woke up with a body battery of 96. I don't know when that's happened the last time. That's got to be the highest that I've been in months.
So weird.
And yeah, my workout was pretty intense also.
2 by 19 minutes? Are you kidding? I just told you how a 120-minute tempo run sounds not like a good idea.
Yeah, mine's just straight through for 23. Yours is a double 19. That's a good one.
Double 19 is out of control.
I like it.
And 19 15 is such a random number.
Their numbers are weird.
Yeah. So anyway, if you are finding yourself in the yellow zone at a yellow light, here are a couple ways that you can adjust. So number one, you can shorten your run. Whatever run you were planning on doing that day, say you were supposed to go out for 6 miles, you can make it a 4 miles. If you're supposed to go out for 5, make it a 3 or 4. You can shorten that run so that it's less overall stress and load on your body.
So this is interesting. When you approach a yellow light, it really depends on what kind of driver you are. And as you might suggest, maybe you've been listening to this podcast for a little while, one of the two of us tends to take their foot off the gas pedal, and one of us tends to push harder on the gas pedal. And so it's important that you recognize that a yellow light suggests that this is caution.
Can you guess which is which?
And that you should probably slow down rather than floor it.
Okay, so I don't floor it, first of all. I want to say this because this is actually a funny thing. I usually do not press on the gas pedal. I'm usually not the person that pulls my foot off the gas, but I don't normally press down on the gas. I just maintain my speed because someone once told me
this will be good.
Someone once told me that you can't get a ticket if you don't accelerate through. If you just
that sounds
continue on. And I know it's ridiculous. I know that clearly that's not true. But if you don't accelerate, then the cop is going to be less likely to pull you over.
Because you're drawing less attention to yourself.
Yeah.
As long as you're generally getting to the light.
I'm just maintaining my speed. And normally I run, like if I go, I'm still through the intersection when the light is yellow.
Yes, that is very true. You do not actually hit the accelerator. Sometimes you choose to go through the yellow, and I'm like, you should really be pushing harder on the accelerator if we're going through this light.
But usually when I go through a yellow, it's because I don't want to slam on the brakes.
Yes.
So I feel like it's nicer for all of my passengers.
Yes. So anyway, back to running. If you've got the yellow light, perhaps shorten the run, perhaps lower the intensity. It's usually a good idea to not be pushing a speed workout on this day. Because if easy pace already feels hard, what is hard pace going to feel like?
And you're going to figure that out on your warm-up.
Yeah, you're going to feel it out pretty quickly.
When you go out for your warm-up, because no matter what run you have planned on your training calendar, you should always be doing a warm-up. And I don't know if people actually know that, because some people follow generic training plans that they get from whatever app or whatever download that they have on PDF that they've downloaded from the internet, and it just says 5 miles. All of those 5 miles should not be at the same pace, even if it's your easy run. There should be a period at the beginning of your run that is easier and slower as your body warms up, especially as you get older. It's really important to just gently allow your body to ease into that workout. So during that warm-up, if you notice that your body is not starting to feel loose or it's not starting to feel good, it's still feeling very tired, that might be a good sign that, you know what, whatever speed workout you had planned for that day, it might be a good idea to abandon that and just make it an easy run.
Or a cross-training day would also be a nice option on this one, because it's going to take a lot of the stress off your body if you shift to a cross-training method that is non-weight bearing.
Low impact.
If you're on a bike, if you're on an elliptical, that's a low impact kind of thing, that might help you. Even if you're pushing on that, there's not the impact on your body. So it depends on what's causing the yellow light, but that's a good option too.
And so you could, if you did that, you're like, okay, you know what? Today's not the day. I'm going to make today an easy run. You could move that intensity to another day, just depending on what the rest of your week looks like.
Yes, which we'll get to.
Yes. So it's important for you to know that adjustment is not weakness. It's intelligent training. And this is really important. So I'm going to say it again because I want you to hear it. Adjustment is not weakness. It's intelligent training, because there are so many people that I talk to that think if they adjust it, if they shorten it, if they make it easier, that's me not following the plan. I'm not following the plan. I'm just weak. I suck. I'm not good enough. Like, you have all of these other things that are running through your head, like Kevin mentioned before, and all of that mental chatter that's going on is just actually increasing the stress even more.
And the thing is that basically any race that most people listening to are participating in is 99% aerobic. And sure, you need to have some faster training in it, but if you converted a lot of your running to just easy running, you would, in general, keep improving. One of the biggest things to keep improving is to just actually keep layering consistency on it. So as long as you have some intensity during the week, you're going to be fine.
And that's really one of the reasons that having a mixture of different things that you do during your week, like what we teach our clients with our hybrid training model. Like some days are easy days, some days are harder speed days, some days are strength and mobility days. Like you have different types of days on your calendar. And the nice thing about it is when you have all of those things laid out, then if you wake up that morning and say you're scheduled for a speed workout, and your body's just not feeling it, you can just swap days pretty easily and know that you're still going to hit that intensity, hopefully, depending on how long, your soreness or your fatigue or whatever it is lasts. You can just hit it later in the week. But you can very intelligently start to shuffle things around to make sure that you're still hitting all the things that you need to hit, but also honoring your body in the process.
And the other thing is, don't panic. If you need to be adjusting things, don't freak out that it's not going exactly according to plan, because your body takes longer to lose fitness than most people would think. And so if you're like, oh man, I had to adjust it to an easy day, my training plan is off. No, you're going to be fine.
All right, now let's move on to your red light. When to take a full rest day and skip whatever workout you have on your plan. So you want to rest when you're feeling really run down. If you are just, again, feeling that deep exhaustion, that is a sign that you need to take an off day. If you have some sort of pain, especially pain that is getting worse, if you are someone that's rehabbing from an injury, this becomes a little bit of a gray area, because if you are coming back from an injury, there is a period of time where it is okay that you're running with pain, but not if that pain is escalating, not if that pain is getting worse.
Yeah, you were really good at bringing me back from hernia surgery, because everything hurt. It just always hurt when I ran. And you were like, you have to just try to run comfortably and see if after 5 minutes of running with some discomfort, does it start to relax and you can run normally. And I was being so cautious and taking like constant walking breaks, and I couldn't get myself going because it never really got warmed up. And you're like, no, just go run. It's going to hurt for 5 minutes and then see what happens. It goes back to the first mile might be a liar. Like in general, these are times to take a full rest day, but there are exceptions to the rule.
And one of those is when your pain is increasing. Okay. Another time that it's a good time to take a rest day is if you're sick, especially if it's early in your sickness, like if it's like days 1, 2, or 3 that you're getting sick, you want to give your body a rest and actually let it recover, because if you decide to continue to train through your sickness, it could make your symptoms worse or prolong your illness as well.
Yeah, if you can't breathe, it's going to be awful to go out and run anyway. It's debatable about how much you're really going to get out of it if you're feeling so sick that you're not really able to run all that much in the first place.
And when we talk about sickness, it also depends on what you're feeling. Do you have a headache and a migraine? You should not be running.
No,
if
don't
you have
run
a
through
migraine,
that.
Right? If the sickness is in your chest, you don't want to be running. If you have GI issues, I don't think you want to be running with GI issues.
No one wants to run with GI issues. That.
If you've got a little head cold, it's probably okay. That's probably going to put you more in the yellow light region.
So that's the suggestion of, is the sickness above or below the neck, with the exception of migraines.
Yes.
But that's where it goes, is if it's below. Don't run with a stomach bug. That's going to be disgusting, unless you're training for an ultra and you want to practice training with GI distress. That was a joke. Thank you. Thank you so much. I nailed that one.
That was a joke. Please, somebody laugh. So another time that you're going to want to take a full rest day is when your recovery markers are just totally off. So those are things like your resting heart rate, your HRV. If you're somebody that tracks those things and you can tell, oh, there's a big difference today versus my normal other days this week, that might be a good sign that you need to take a rest day and just allow your body time to process that stress so that you don't end up sick or injured. Or if you're just feeling emotionally overwhelmed, like there are just days that you just feel completely overwhelmed and completely stressed, like that might be a good time for you to take a rest day too.
It might be time to take a nap. Like sometimes a nap would be...
Instead of a run.
Yes.
Like use that 30 minutes or 60 minutes that you were going to go out and run, probably about 60. Because even if you're running for 30, you're going to run and then you have to take a shower and get ready. So you probably just bought yourself a 45 to 60 minute nap.
And that really might be what your body needs to try and bring back your recovery markers, to try and feel less run down, to avoid the sickness or to get over the sickness, to reduce the pain. A nap might be the answer. And you're like, no, I need the mental therapy of going out for my run. No, you don't. You need to just feel better. Go take a nap.
And it's important to remember that rest is a part of training. So another time to take a full rest day is once a week.
Yeah, that's
another one. You should not be training 7 days a week, most of you. Like some of you, I don't know, I would say to most of you, we very highly recommend rest days here, especially if you are over 40, because your body just doesn't have the same level of resilience that it used to have when you were 20. And rest is a part of your training because adaptation happens in recovery. You do not gain the benefits of hard workouts during your workouts. You gain the benefits of those hard workouts, and your body actually adapts when you are resting and recovering from those workouts. So if you have so much stress in your system and you just never feel like you're sleeping well, you never feel like you're getting rested, then your body's actually not adapting well to the training that you're putting it through. So you can push as hard as you want, but if you aren't recovering and adapting to that training, you're not going to gain what you want to gain from it.
Yes, that's a very good point. I think the full recommendation of the Real Life Runners podcast is take a rest day every single week. There is weird exceptions where you're trying to like rework your schedule and you're like, normally I take Sunday as my rest day, but I can't run on Monday.
Every 7 to 10 days.
That's the thing. Yes, it's a very strict, there should be a rest day every week, but sometimes with rescheduling things, you move something from the next week forward. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure the last time that I've run that I did 7 days in a row.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Even in like the build-up right into a 100-mile rate. Like more than normal, I would say I was very strict at making sure I was getting a rest day every week.
Because your body needed it.
Because I was running so much miles.
Yeah, because you were running so much.
Like
exactly.
That's why I needed that off day.
Yeah, I think that like another exception would be an easy cross-training day or something like that too.
If you can do it and it's not putting extra load on your body, then sure.
Yeah. So those are your red light, when to take a full rest day. So then the next question becomes, okay, fine. Angie, Kevin, fine. I'll take a stupid rest day. But when do I have to fit that in? Do I have to make that up?
Yes, the next day. Obviously, every single time, clearly cram it into the next day. And if you can't fit it on the next day, then double up the day after that.
And by that, Kevin means no. You don't need to make up missed workouts.
Oh, shoot.
That is the short answer. Okay, so the short answer is if you miss one workout, you do not need to make it up. You don't have to try to go crazy and fit everything in. The longer answer is you assess. You have to figure out, again, what kind of workout did you miss? What are you laughing about?
All right, so we have an outline that says, no, you don't have to make up a missed workout. Long answer, you assess. And I read it as, yes. This is definitely how I read that.
You assess?
You assess. I read that as yes.
I thought you were going to say you asses.
Nope. I just read it as a really long, enthusiastic yes. Which I don't think is right at all. But that does get to the point of, no, you actually carefully assess what was going on. What did you actually miss and why and what is the purpose? But it goes, let's start again with, no, you don't have to make it up.
Okay, so how do we assess it then? So if you miss an easy run, what's the best course of action?
Don't worry about it. That day just came and went.
If it's an easy run, you can just let that go.
No, you're like, oh, but it was supposed to be 5 miles. Should I carefully divide the 5 miles and split it out over the next 4 days? No, you do not need to do that.
Yeah. If you miss a speed session, okay, so this could include that you decide to take a rest day that day, or it can also include if you decide to adjust, if you're in the yellow light zone and you decide, okay, you know what, I don't have a speed workout in me today, I'm going to adjust this and make it an easy run instead. So what do you need to do about that speed session? So the answer to that one is maybe. So if you start recovering, if by you adjusting your training plan and making that an easy run or taking that rest day, you come back and you feel rested and you feel more recovered, then yes, if you have room somewhere in your training plan, you can put that speed session back in instead of one of the other easy runs on your plan. As long as you're not, you have to be careful though, because sometimes there's only so many days in a week. Sometimes if you have your speed session, say, on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and you miss that, and then the next time for you to make it up is a Friday, but your long run is on a Saturday, that's probably not going to be the best choice, because then you're putting 2 hard days back to back if you put a speed session and a long run next to each other.
Yes, I may have a client that did that last week.
Yeah.
That bumped an early week speed session to late in the week and ended up with a speed session on Thursday and Friday and a long run on Saturday.
Oh, that's too much.
Which is, it seemed the whole week just stayed the whole week. There was nothing that got new and added onto it. It just rearranged the order of it. And it put all of the difficulty at the end of the week.
Yeah.
And by the time it was Saturday long run, it's, ooh, I am tired through this long run. It's, yes, because all of your difficult days, it went one hard day to the next.
Yeah.
And that just, it's
compounding fatigue.
Yeah, you're purposely putting yourself into the yellow.
Which is okay sometimes, depending on how healthy you are going into that. If you are feeling good going into that, usually we would not suggest, that's not something that's recommended. But putting 2 hard days back to back, you can do that. You just have to, number one, make sure that your expectations are correct. So if you do a speed session on a Friday and then a long run on Saturday, like Kevin just said, you might you have to expect that your legs are probably going to be more tired than normal during that long run on Saturday.
Yeah, but if you're training for a particularly long race, this might actually be done on purpose.
It could be a good training strategy.
Because in training, it's very difficult to simulate how your body feels at mile 20 of a marathon. You're not going to want to go out and run 20 miles so that you can feel what those last 6 feel like. The answer is bad. You also don't want somebody to just beat your thighs with a baseball bat and then send you out on a distance run. That's also a bad idea. It will give you a similar sensation, but that's not an ideal scenario. So sometimes putting a difficult run and then saying, all right, and now I'm going to do a long run the next day on tired legs, simulates it. It's not exactly the same sensation, but it gives you an idea of what running on already heavy legs are.
Yeah.
And then you carefully plan and make sure you follow through on the recovery afterwards.
Yes.
That's the thing. If you're adjusting and you're having to cram a little bit, you want to make sure that you are thoroughly filling out the recovery afterwards so that you stay in the green light area.
Yes. And what about if you miss a long run? Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit trickier. Like, you might be able to adjust your week, but it's really important, again, that you're not trying to just cram everything in and just adding more stress to your body.
Yeah, often if you miss a long run, that sometimes gets bumped to the following week, depending on how your plan works out. You might be able to just kick that thing down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
If you are a more experienced athlete, you could put speed into a medium long run and double things that direction. Not a suggestion, I would say, for newer runners. If you've raced longer distances already, you've already knocked out a couple of half marathons, then you might want to experiment of, okay, instead of the long, I can adjust this and I can do a longer speed session that's not full long run, but it's not super, super fast. It's a good way to combine things without having to put all of the workouts on the same day.
And that's really where a coach comes in handy that knows a lot about this and can help guide you in how to actually adjust that. Please don't do what Kevin just said if you are a newer runner. If it's the first time, especially if it's the first time that you're training for a certain race distance, like a half marathon, a marathon, like he said very clearly, this is if you are an experienced runner. You already have plenty of experience at that level. Because when you stack stress, essentially what you're doing there is trying to add speed and a long run together. That's stacking stress to try to make sure you don't miss things. That increases your injury risk automatically. So the same way when we talked about putting a speed session on a Friday and a long run on a Saturday, that increases your injury risk because your body on Saturday is going to be more tired. So if your legs are more tired, your body is going to compensate more. You're not going to have the same level of stability. You're going to have more wear and tear. It's going to increase your injury risk. So if you're going to do this by stacking stress and stacking hard sessions, you have to make sure that you have the proper foundation built in order to be able to handle that. And so many runners are doing those crazy things without the proper foundation.
Because otherwise, what you're essentially doing is driving down a street with a huge amount of stoplights and just revving it from one red light to the next red light to the next red light to the next red light. Because you're going so fast that you're like, oh, if I just keep going fast enough, I'll just live in the green. No, you just keep hitting one more red light.
Yeah.
You're going really fast, but you're not getting anywhere because you keep hitting red lights. That's what's happening to
Right.
you.
So it's really important that you hear this. Missed workouts do not derail your progress. If you miss a workout or even 2 workouts, that's not going to completely derail you. Chronic overload will. Chronic overload will derail your progress. It'll plateau you, and it'll actually make you decline even though you are still putting in the work, but your body is not able to actually adapt to that stress. And so it is much better for you to adjust or take a rest day than to just continuously and chronically overload your system.
Oh, it's better for everything because ultimately we're looking for long-term progress.
Yes.
And the best way for long-term progress is consistency. So no hero workouts is your best chance for consistency.
Yes. And so if you are someone that tends to push through, even when you are in a yellow light or a red light zone, you really have to take a look and ask yourself, are you trying to prove something? And if so, what are you trying to prove? Are you training from a place of fear, like worry that if I don't do this, I'm not going to get the results that I want? Or if I don't do this, it's going to mean that I'm weak or that I'm not a runner or that I'm fill in the blank, right? There's some sort of fear that is coming along with missing these workouts instead of actually just trusting the process.
I think a lot of people, and it falls into this first one, trying to prove, training from fear. Are you chasing the fountain of youth? I used to be able to do this. I should still be able to do this. There's a different training philosophy past the age of, quite frankly, past mid-30s. Like, your body is just not quite recovering correct anymore. You need to make sure that you are getting enough recovery because you're not recovering at the same rate as you used to. So are you trying to prove that you're still capable instead of adjusting and taking a smart approach to long-term training? Because you can continue to improve. You just have to actually adjust what training looks like.
Yeah, and I think that this is something that so many people don't understand because they're just trying to do what they've always done instead of making the adjustment and thinking more long term, because that strong runner, a sustainable runner, understands that consistency beats perfection every single time. And consistency, like missing one workout, does not mean that you're not consistent, because I think that's how a lot of people define consistency. If I'm going to be consistent, it means I can't miss anything.
No.
And that's not what consistency actually is.
No, consistency is being able to look at, this is why I like your giant calendar hanging on the wall behind us. If you highlighted on a calendar all of the days where you did what the plan suggested versus you didn't, it generally looks like you did everything. Are you going to have some days missed? Sure. But you never have like weeks blocked off where it's, and then I missed this week, and then I missed this week, and then I missed this week. That's the lack of consistency that usually happens because you pushed through red lights. It usually completely derails you, and then you're off, and then you have to rebuild from that because you keep missing periodically weeks or several days, and it loses your momentum. Like you're back at inertia's tricky.
Yeah.
Inertia keeps you going, but it also keeps you stuck.
Right. Because so you're on the wagon, off the wagon, on the wagon, off the wagon.
Yeah.
Like, these are those people that just feel like I can never be consistent. And they then say, I just need more motivation. But it has nothing to do with that. And if that's you, go back to our last couple of episodes, because that's going to help you with that. In summary, to sum all this up for you, if you miss one workout, essentially just let it go. It's probably not that big of a deal. If you miss 2 in a row, you're going to want to assess your recovery. Make sure you're getting enough recovery so that your body can actually support the training that you're trying to place on it. If you miss 3 workouts in a row, you really need to reevaluate your overall load. You need to reevaluate whatever it is that you're training for. Is the plan that you're on, is that the right plan for you? Is the goal that you're currently training for the right goal for the season of life that you're in? Because if you're trying to train for a marathon, but you have a 6-week-old baby, those are 2 very stressful things. And that's a lot of demand on the body. Most people can't do that.
Yeah, no. If you're over the course of a week, 3 of the days are not going as planned, 3 of the days are turning into red light days, the plan is not working for you. But that's an issue. The longer term is if you've got this fatigue that's building up for over a week, you're just showing chronic under-recovering, which could be coming from all sorts of sources. One of them might be lack of food. There could be lack of sleep. There could be...
And we didn't even mention nutrition on this episode.
No, as soon as it said you're under-recovering, my first thought was, are you eating enough?
Yeah, because that is a huge role in your recovery.
And that also has a huge role in how your hormones are helping your recovery system.
It also has a huge role in how much fatigue you're feeling, too. Yes. So if you wake up and you're feeling really tired and you go out and you don't eat anything, and then you go out and try to run, your body doesn't have any fuel. So maybe the answer is you just need to eat.
Maybe have a snack and a nap.
Have a snack and a nap. That will fix everything.
God, maybe we should just go back to kindergarten. We all get a juice box and a nap.
Sounds good. So the goal is never to not feel tired, right? We're going to feel tired. Welcome to life. Welcome to being human. The goal is to build the skill of knowing what to do when you are tired. Is it time to rest? Is it time to adjust? Or is it time to just go ahead and push through? And that's really what it means to be an athlete, to be able to assess how you're feeling honestly, and then assess and figure out or decide, not really assess, but decide what to then do about it. And that's the best way that you will maintain consistency and continue to get stronger after 40.
Yeah, and that's the maturity. That's the having the honest answer. You do the assessment, or as I read it, yes.
The assess.
But you assess honestly. Don't lie to yourself and be like, no, I'm feeling fine today. If you're not, you have to have the honest assessment of what color is that light in front of you so that you can make the appropriate response.
Yeah, and while we were recording this podcast, I just decided that tomorrow morning, based on how I'm feeling right now, I'm very tired. I am going to sleep in tomorrow because Tuesday is normally my 5:30 a.m. run with my friends, and I just texted them and I was like, you know what? I'm going to sleep in tomorrow, guys, because I'm just feeling really tired, and I feel like if I wake up at 5 a.m. to do a speed workout, that's going to just dig my hole a little bit deeper. So I'm going to sleep in a little bit. I'm going to adjust right now.
Good adjust.
I'm going to sleep in, and then I'm going to see how I feel when I wake up, and if I feel okay, then I will do my speed workout. I'll just do it a little bit later in the morning after the girls go to school. And then if I'm not feeling it, I will do an easy run, and then I'll move my speed workout to Wednesday.
That sounds like a wonderful plan.
Wondrous. All right, so if you guys have any questions, we would love to hear from you. Reach out. We're on Instagram at Real Life Runners. You can always email us. You can get to us at hello@realliferunners.com. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. And if you found this episode helpful, if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or a comment on Spotify with a star rating, that will help other runners to find this episode and this podcast so that we can help more people, which is going to just be awesome. As always, thanks for spending this time with us. This has been the Real Life Runners podcast, episode number 452. Now get out there and run your life.